Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our time together. I'm Lori Lamantia, and I'm here with the Tricia Fiske.
Good morning.
Today, we're going to talk about a big topic, which is really very important on so many levels. But we're calling this Money May, and we wanted to talk about how you feel about money. A lot of times money is a taboo topic, or if people have a lot of discomfort with it. So really to start the conversation about money, it's important to really give yourself permission to ask yourself, how do I really feel about money? And that's what we're going to talk about today, because as we talk and we explore, hopefully you'll start to feel more comfortable about even asking yourself that question. Because for many of us, money is a taboo topic, or we have learned that you shouldn't talk about it. And part of that clarity comes from doing the deep dive into it. So Tricia, how would you want to frame this for today?
I I would say it's from a yogic perspective, it's a first chakra issue in that our beliefs from money typically come from our tribal family. Like, how was it held in regard when we were growing up? What kinds of messages do we get from our family regarding money? And then the work, of course, is for us is to kind of tear that down. So I think the starting place, as you're saying, is let's get clear on what beliefs we're currently holding about money, in to have the ability to, if we want, change those or expand them. Yeah.
And the interesting thing about these beliefs is they are unconscious, a lot of them. A
Right.
lot of them are so naturally a part of who we are because they have been with us since the beginning. And they have been with us because our mom had a perspective or our dad had a perspective. And they taught us because it was so a part of the household. It just became the energy soup that we lived in. So we didn't realize that we were being taught energetically and of course consciously and unconsciously about the feeling about money, and those beliefs. And it could be your family, or I'm sorry, your grandparents, or the community you lived in. If you were brought up in a religious household, those are all messages that were just seep into us really deeply, especially as children, because it becomes part of our cosmology, so to speak. So you were saying before we started that kind of one of the things you were saying was around the beliefs you had when you were growing up with money.
Right. And in my family, money was not a easy flowing thing. You had to work really hard for your money. I was taught that, and it's constant. And I was also taught not to dream too big, or uh, to not
Not
steal.
want.
Yeah, right. Scarcity. Let's just say I was taught scarcity,
Mhm. You know, and
which,
go ahead, keep going.
yeah, I would say not only from my parents, but from my grandparents. And a lot of that, my grandparents on both sides were refugees. So, coming to the United States was like the big chance to have a life. So,
Yeah. And that does, and you don't even realize it as a kid that that's sending you all kinds of messages about what's appropriate, what's inappropriate, how much money is enough, should you want more, and then you've got all the religious stuff. The money is the root of all evil, and
right.
the love of money is, harder for with the camel and all that stuff. And so it really, those messages combined with and of course, to me, the question was always of worthiness. Were you worthy of it? Whether, you, like you said, if you had to earn it, but it wasn't just that, but you had to fit into some kind of particular mold in order to have it. It was very conditional, and
Yeah.
transactional. You
Yeah.
were good, you got money. You were bad, you don't get money. You were good. There was a lot of good and bad and transactional stuff that I
Right.
felt and saw.
Duality. A lot of duality involved with money.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
The ultimate tool for teaching duality.
Yeah.
Good, bad, right, wrong. Um, and so that's the exploration. And it's so important for people to ask themselves that question and really give yourself permission. One of the things in the Effortless Wealth book in the back, I have a whole section on making peace with money. And there's a lot of questions in there about, what were you taught as a child? What were you taught? What did you come to? Not so much that it's the taught, but then what did you decide to agree to? That becomes your belief because people are taught all kinds of stuff, but unless they believe it and agree to it, it's not necessarily true for them. So, that question of how do I feel about it? How do I feel when I look at my bank account? How do I feel when I think about money and my mom, my dad, my grandma? Because that'll give you information about how you were taught. And I think be conscious that it's not just how you talked about it, but how you feel about it. Because
Right.
you can journal and just write down, I feel, and it's all a heady experience, but we got to get out of our head and go into that vibration system because how you vibrate about it, um, that's what's being kind of like an attractor, so to speak.
Right. I can say um, that I was not taught that money is energy. I
Right.
was not, right.
Right. And money has power over you instead of you being the money energy system. Money was the thing that everybody had power over everybody else. That's what I saw.
Right.
That it was almost like it was a being that was deciding who gets to do what based on if you had it or not. So yeah, there was a lot of inherent power in the money, or the lack of it. It gave people superiority. It gave people the deciding, if you're good, if I'll bestow it upon you, if you earned it. Those are all those things that money seemed to be larger than life, to me. Uh, did you feel, one of the things when I was exploring money, because and I'm really grateful I had those feelings because then there was a point in my life where I was like, I felt really poor. And I was like, I did everything right. I went to school, I got a job. Why is it that money still seems to have the upper hand in my life? And that really annoyed me. And so it put me on this journey of, I want to really learn about it, and I think that was one of the best things that happened was I finally decided I was going to have I was going to have a say in my money experience, and or at least I was going to learn enough about it so I could have a say in my money experience. And that's another thing that goes on here as a part of the how do you feel about money is you have to be willing to look at it. You have to be willing to have the courage to do a deep dive into it. Because on the other side of that courageous exploration is empowerment. And so I want to encourage people who are listening or considering this, do the deep dive, spend the time. It is totally worth it because if you don't, you're always going to kind of always feel I felt on the side of I'm disempowered and it's got the power. It felt like again a dualistic imbalance. Um have you done a deep dive into it?
I have, but at a different time in my life. I'm in a very different phase of my life right now because of aging.
Mhm.
and getting older. And so it's time to do it again based
Mhm. Excellent.
of my life. Because like I said, this phase of my life is different. I'm in my 70s. I don't want to go out and teach 20 yoga classes a week and stuff like that. I was at College of DuPage teaching uh, academic yoga classes, so classes for credit. And I loved it. I loved the environment and the atmosphere and being with young people. And, you know, I loved that. And that was very inspiring. And I did well there. But, you know, I've retired and now I'm kind of re-looking at where I want to put my energy. And so this looking at money again is changing for me. And
Mm.
so I'm at that place of starting over, I think, with the deep dive into, at this point in my life, what beliefs do I still have about, you know, what beliefs am I holding now about
Mhm.
money?
Mhm.
And do I still agree with them?
Totally. Yes. Well,
Yeah,
that's a really good point because at every stage in our life, we also saw people in different stages of their life making decisions and choices about money
right,
because of where they were. Yeah. So I think that's brilliantly said, that it's not a static exploration as
right,
we learn and grow. It's kind of relooking. And it's funny you mentioned it because I was thinking the same thing. When I was teaching at DePaul, I had these classes and I'd ask people to write a whole paper on how do you feel about money? Because you're in school, you're here in business school, you want to make a lot of money, but yet you don't really know how you feel about it. Are you scared about it if I don't have it? It's fascinating. And I this was back when we used to actually have physical money, but I would ask them to tear up a dollar bill and it would make them crazy. They're like, some of them would be like, this is wrong, this is illegal. It was just really interesting for them to quote unquote destroy money. And then other people were like, my parents would be so pissed at you making me tear up their hard-earned money. And then other people were like, no big deal, because there was plenty more where that came from, but it was a really interesting um a experience, a physical, that's what I'm saying. It really got to how you
right,
really felt about money. And in all fairness, now that we're super digital, I don't know that we even have as much consciousness around money. I, and I'm kind of, so like how people feel when money hits their Venmo account or not, do they feel rich or poor when they have to, because that's
right,
kind of now how people are energetically connecting to money versus back in the day when you actually either had it in your wallet or you didn't, if you
right.
had it.
And that's, I mean, how many people actually have money in
Right.
their wallet right now, or
No,
change in your pocket, right?
no,
Yeah,
right.
it's definitely a different world.
Yes, but the feelings about the medium, the medium of transaction, which to me is still has a lot of dualisticness in it. Um, it matters how we feel about it because that money vibration, what sort that if somebody were to pick a money soup, or if somebody would say to you or ask you what do you feel? What money vibe do you feel off of me? If you were to ask somebody, they could say that, you have a money vibe. You have a money environment around you and I want to say money, not prosperity or abundance, but actual money. Because I think people, kind of want to use, fuzzy language, but I think for the purposes of us right now, it's money. How do I feel about money?
Right,
So you can get clear so you can, oh, I didn't realize I was using the word abundance in lieu of talking about money because I don't feel comfortable about money. Does that make sense? I think sometimes we use those words because we don't want to use the word money. And um, as we really ask ourselves that question, we get to say, have I been using abundance or prosperity or and say, I want it. That's different than I feel really comfortable inside of the concept of money.
Yes, absolutely. Because again, then we're going back to language, and it matters. It really
Totally.
matters.
Um, so one of the things that one of the teachers that I worked with, he talks about John Randolph Price. He wrote the book, the Abundance Book, which is a lovely little book. I think you could get it on Amazon. And he again, in the effort to transform the energy experience of money, he actually came up with an acronym for MONEY, my own natural energy yield.
Oh,
And
what?
now we're starting to look at money as an energy system and it can yield to you. So, but I don't want to skip too far ahead here. The purposes of our talk now is just to do the deep dive into how you feel about money. Um, because as we go through the next couple of weeks, we're going to see how to upgrade that. But you can't upgrade that which you don't honestly look at, in my opinion.
Correct. I totally agree with that. Yes.
So let's not skip steps in, oh, I'll just fix my money, I'm going to fix it. It's more like when you do the dive, you'll notice, oh, I didn't realize that, or I didn't realize that that was the message that I got when I was a kid. And I didn't realize this was the thing that I decided to do because of that message, right? I decided to get a really good job, or and I have friends who, they have they want to be millionaires right now. And I think that's because they're trying to skip over. I hated that feeling of poverty. I want to be a millionaire now. The feeling of poverty will like hang out with you until you get clear about it so you can like shed it off the back of your body almost. Like it's like a, a, a a bubble around you that until we pop it or shed it, that true felt sense of abundance doesn't get to flow in every way.
Right. And a lot of times we're nervous about looking at our beliefs. It's almost like this fear that we'll get caught in it. But it's actually the opposite happens when we're willing to really step in and look at our beliefs. We have the power of releasing ourselves from them, especially if they're unconscious and we just keep, repeating patterns of behavior and we can't figure out why. Why does the same thing keep happening to me? So it's a really important first step. And I think the important message here is you're not doing it to suffer or to relive any painful memories. You're doing it to let go.
Yeah, for that clarity, right? You don't even sometimes know you don't know what you don't know about what you're doing because
Exactly.
it's so comfortable.
Yeah, you don't want to look at it.
No, no. Because there's a lot of guilt around money or shame or confusion. Those are all low vibrating, quote unquote low, but denser vibrations, which kind of also make us can feel bad. We could feel shameful. I've noticed men especially have a lot of shame around money, because and interestingly enough, I think they define themselves in the past as only being valuable. Like I'm the breadwinner, So if I'm not a breadwinner, well, that's all I was ever good for was to bring home the bacon, the money, the man. And I've been fascinated as because I like talking about money with people. I love it. It's my favorite topic. I am in the grocery store. I'm asking money questions about people. Do you have a Roth IRA? And people look at me like, but I really want people to feel empowered about money. And when I talk to men about money, oftentimes they're like, hey, you know, the only job I have is to provide security, which is money. And now that women are becoming much more comfortable with making money, I think, I'm feeling and seeing even that is a diminishment. And I know this is a huge topic that we're trying to talk about, and I want to keep it tight, but it's interesting how we start to get lost in those social definitions instead of, the truth of what can be true for us.
Right, absolutely. And I'm going to go back and reference the book Anatomy of the Spirit by Carolyn Weiss, who talks about in her section on the first chakra, it's that the universal human journey is one of becoming conscious of our power and how to use that power, and becoming conscious of the responsibility inherent in the power of choice represents the core of this first chakra. Becoming conscious requires stamina, and it's to evaluate our personal beliefs and separate ourselves from those that no longer support our growth. And our first belief patterns that we need to challenge are tribal. And that's why definitely any talk about money is tribal. Our spiritual development follows the structure of our energy system. We clear ideas out from the bottom up, starting with the earliest and most basic. And any beliefs that you have about money are early and basic.
Right.
I even read that we even pick up emotional responses to how our mothers feel when they're pregnant and we're in the womb.
Yes.
That's right. So that's how influential what we learn from our family is in our belief system and how we follow through with our life. And that's another reason why it's so important. We're not getting stuck in them. We're kind of digging them out so we can take a look at them, bringing them into the light.
Yes, yes. Well, and that's the interesting thing about energy. And that's why the energy conversation is so important with all of this, because energy doesn't know boundaries. Energy doesn't know the boundary of skin into the womb, right? Energy
Right.
doesn't know a boundary between you and me in from where we come from. We're all part of the same energy vibration, let's say. And so the vibration, and this is the interesting thing about money vibrates, right? And depending on where we are on the vibration scale, it vibrates as we do, right? And so we can assign us, I don't want to go, I'm going too far aside. I wanted to stick with what you were saying about what Carolyn May said about about the first chakra, because the first chakra also is about safety, right?
Yes.
And safety is safety equals, for many people, scarcity. If you don't have enough, you don't feel safe. And so we keep being in this, I've got to have enough money so that I can feel safe. And so money constantly brings us back to the first chakra, because it's a question of scarcity of, and if we don't have enough, then we have poverty consciousness, and it always creates that I'm not safe experience. So, and of course, like what Carol Mace was saying too, walking up the chakra system, clearing up that scarcity safety issue around money allows that whole energy to flow up and out and through and around. And so it's really valuable conversation to have with ourselves.
Yes, yes. And without any judgment. That's really important too, right?
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
love that.
Just be curious,
Yeah.
it's not like we're not trying to fix anything right now. It's just a curiosity about, what did I pick up? What was put down? What did get laid down for me inside? What did I hear? What did I feel? And And a lot of people, it's as different as you are, right? And don't feel bad that somebody got a better, you think somebody had a better life or whatever. It's all perfect because it's going to bring us to this point now where we have choice and clarity and understanding. But don't compare and look around. Just do your personal deep dive without
Yes.
judgment.
Right. And if you're comfortable sharing with somebody and talking it through, do that. But that's not even necessary. It's totally up to you. It might be
Yeah,
a journal a little
a
bit.
journal.
Yeah.
This is a perfect spot for a journal.
Yeah.
It really is because writing it uh gives you clarity again. And you get some depth, you get deeper in as you handwrite, even not just type into a computer, but give yourself that 15 minutes of, oh, what did I really learn? What do I really feel? And you'll be surprised how much keeps popping out over the course of a couple days or whatever. What are the big ones you heard or the big ones you felt?
Right. Absolutely. Yes. Yes. So that's your work for this week, is to do that. Do the
Truly.
old beliefs. And then I want to bring up that Lori created a deck of cards called Money Muscles, cards for attracting affluence.
Yeah, they're great.
And
I
so,
love those cards, by the way. Thanks for mentioning them.
yeah, so I think we should each draw a card
Okay.
deck and
So
see what.
this is a really good way to check on your what are you vibing about money right now or prosperity. Because when you pull a card, and the idea behind pulling a card or opening a book or anything is it's an energy message from you to you, right? It's you giving you a little bit of information. So it's, some people call it coincidence or synchronicity or just happen chance, but I do really believe that our energy, that vibration is helping us pick one particular card over another. So, okay,
Right.
I've got my deck.
Okay. And I'm big on just start shuffling and wait for one to fall
Oh,
out.
there you go. Okay.
So I did my shuffle, and this is what fell out for me. Simplify muscle. Too much stuff can make us feel overwhelmed, and maintaining stuff can make us feel bogged down. When we simplify our lives, our homes, and clear out old stuff, we create space, and there is great richness in an expanse of nothingness. So here's my mantra for this week. I choose to simplify or clean out some area of my life. And I choose to do this freely, joyously, and playfully. And this goes right along with what we're saying.
Right. Clean out the mental closet
Yep.
too. That's also a clean out. Oh, beautiful. And that's a really good message around simplify.
Mm-hmm.
I think we do make money really complicated and the idea of it and simplifying it to energy that is flowing all around us all the time is really the most nugget of truth behind it. It's energy. And we're going to
Yes.
talk about that.
All right, you pick a card.
Well, I picked feel rich. There's no better way to attract richness than to feel rich. So every day find ways to feel rich. Walk down the street with $100 in your pocket and say, I can buy that. I can afford that. Or daydream you are Oprah and you can give everyone you know a car. Let your imagination run wildly rich. I choose to spend every day feeling rich in some way, and I do this freely, joyously, and playfully.
Love it.
That's the best way to create a rich vibe around you is to feel rich. That's
Right.
energy vibration, right? Do you walk around like lately I've been calling it a baller, like, hey, I could do that, I could do that, I could do that. It's so fun. And it changes, even just saying that, it changes your whole like demeanor, right? You stand a little taller, you point a little stronger, you choose a
Right.
little better. Yeah.
Right. We will get to that energy part of it. But for this week, focus is on, clear up, clean out house. Just be willing to sit and look at Right.
Right.
And maybe hold a dollar bill in your hand while you're doing
Right.
it.
And ask yourself, what is it? What did I learn about this? What do I feel about this?
Yeah.
What do I feel about this? You
Yes.
know, let yourself look at it, because if you can't look at it, the clarity won't come. And that's what we want, is clarity for choicing, because, you know, that's your empowerment piece. Clarity gives the ability to make clear choices. Empowerment. Awesome. Yay, this is good. Thank you. I had a lovely time. And of course, if anyone wants to call me in and talk about money, I'm in. One of my favorite things to do. Have a great week, everyone.
Thank you.
Namaste.